If you are planning a visit to Tel Aviv as part of a tour in Israel, or if you're coming only for a short weekend, then this video is for you. My name is Oren and I'm a professional tour guide, and in this video I'm going to show you how to plan 2 full days in Tel Aviv. Now, if the weather is good, not too hot, not too cold, then I would recommend starting here at Gan Pisgah in Jaffa. Now, there are a couple of ways to come here. You can or take a taxi or take a bus to Sderot Yerushalayim and then walk it. It's about 500 meters walk. Or the best way, in my opinion, is to bike here. Tel Aviv is flat and small, and 20 minutes from the city center will get you almost anywhere in the city. So you can all rent a bike at your hostel or hotel, or use Telofan, which is Tel Aviv rental bike service. It costs 17 shekels a day, which is about $5. And you need to remember that it is per day and not per ride. You cannot pay only for one ride. After you pay, you choose the bike that you want and you just go. Now you need to remember that you can only ride them for half an hour each time, and then you need to bring them back to a Telofan station. There are stations all over the city. Once you bring the bike back, you can take them again for another half an hour of use. If you use the bike for more than half an hour, then you pay an extra fee. Below this video, I will leave a link with all the important information. Anyway, I recommend starting here at Summit Garden, Gan Pisgah, and from here you have a beautiful lookout over Tel Aviv, and from here it is very close to the Jaffa small alleys. It is basically 3-4 short, nice streets, so you can walk all of them. And no matter how you go, eventually you will find yourself in the main square, Kdumim Square, where you will see the St. Peter's Church. The church has an interesting story that is connected to the separation of Christianity from Judaism. In the square, you can also visit the Visitor Center, which is underground. It is a very small museum, but it tells the story of Jaffa in an interesting way with a lot of videos. From there, you can continue down the alleys to the port, and from there it is a couple of minutes walk to the clock tower, and there you are basically very close to the flea market, which is a great market. In all Jaffa, you will see mainly tourists. In the flea market, you will see many Israelis that come to look, buy, bargain, and eat. There are some great restaurants that open up in the last couple of years. Osna, Ramses, Pua, Shafa, and many other great places. Atachana is a compound that was renovated. It is where the first train station connecting Jaffa and Jerusalem was, and today it is a nice relaxing shopping area. Right next to it is the Tzahal, the Israeli Army Museum, so if you're interested in the Israeli Army, it's a nice place to visit. And from there you are basically at Neve Tzedek, the first Jewish neighborhood of Jaffa, and today a very trendy neighborhood. From there you can continue to Rothschild Boulevard, and then you're in the center of the city. You can visit Sarona, which was a German colony that was renovated a couple of years ago, and today it is a really nice place, and there is also a food market over there. And from there you can continue to Dizengoff Street, one of the most known streets in Tel Aviv and in Israel. The best museum in central Tel Aviv is the Tel Aviv Museum of Arts, probably the most important art museum in Israel. The collection represents mostly artworks from the leading artists of the 20th century, worldwide and Israeli art. Now, I recommend taking a tour. There are not many, I think only once a week, but it is worth it. I will leave all the information and the links down here below. The slogan of Tel Aviv is the city that never sleeps, and it is really so. If you want to go out, just need to go out, doesn't matter where you go. Allenby, Rothschild, where I'm right now, Dizengoff, the Carmel Market, the flea market, Florentine, wherever you will go out, you will see people sitting outside in the middle of the week, middle of the night. People are outside. I will say that the more you go to the south, it will be more alternative. And the only place that I wouldn't go is the area of the central bus station, but there are no hotels or hostels there anyway, so you don't have any reason to go there. But other than that, everything is open and safe and great. I would recommend starting your second day on the northern part of Tel Aviv. You can ride along the promenade and then along Park HaYarkon to Tel Aviv University. If you are not a bike fan or if the weather is not good, you can always take a bus, or if you're coming outside of Tel Aviv, you can also take the train. There is a station called Tel Aviv University. Inside of the Tel Aviv University, there is the Museum of the Jewish People, Bet Tfutzot. Now, if you will ask Israelis where is the Museum of the Jewish People, nobody will know where it is, so you need to ask where Bet Tfutzot is. The museum shows different aspects of Jewish life. There is a permanent exhibition about different synagogues from around the world, and a very good movie that explains the different Jewish prayer. For children, there is an exhibition about Jewish heroes throughout the history, from leaders to cultural figures, artists and philosophers. It is a very liberal museum, which makes sense as it is in Tel Aviv, not in Jerusalem. There are also very interesting temporary exhibitions. When I was there, I saw one about Bob Dylan. Now, not too many tourists and Israelis visit Bet Tfutzot, but I personally think that it is a very good museum, especially if you want to learn about Judaism, but not from a religious point of view. 5 minutes walk from the university, there is the Rabbin Center. Now, the museum is about Yitzhak Rabin, the Israeli prime minister that was murdered by a Jew in 1995. But in the museum, there is a part that is called the Israeli Museum, and it explores the history of the state of Israel, the country's development, conflicts, and challenges. I can say that as a tour guide, there are many sites where I can talk about the history of Jerusalem or sites that are connected to Jesus. But the Israeli Museum is the only place that presents the full history of the land of Israel, a subject that I get asked about more than any other subject. Right next to it is the Eretz Israel Museum, not to be confused with the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. The museum is about the archaeology and the history of Israel. There is a selection called Man and His Work about ancient methods of weaving, baking, jewelry and pottery making in the land of Israel. The first archaeological digging in Israel was Tel Kasila, which is a part of the museum today. But most visitors to the museum visit the temporary exhibitions, which are really, really good. All three museums, Bet Tfutzot, Yitzhak Rabin Museum and Eretz Israel Museum, are good, but seeing 3 museums is way too much. After 1 or 2 museums, you can continue to Park HaYarkon or cycle to the Tel Aviv Port, which is an area of restaurants, cafes and shopping, or cycle back to the city center. The north is very clean and quiet. If you want more life, then go back to the center. You can always go to Suka Carmel, the most known market in Tel Aviv. I've said it in a video about Jerusalem. Something good is going on in the markets in Israel. A couple of years ago, it was a place to buy cheap fruits and vegetables, and today it's a great place to eat, shop, and to feel the vibe of Tel Aviv. Daytime and nighttime, there are so many great places to eat there. Haminzar, Basta, The Ban, and many others. Near Suka Carmel, every Tuesdays and Fridays, there is a very nice art and craft fair at Nachlat Binyamin Street. Around the area of Suka Carmel, Nachlat Binyamin, Bialik Square, there are many old buildings that were renovated. Most of them are in the Bauhaus or the eclectic style. Now, if you've read a little bit about Tel Aviv, you've probably heard about the Bauhaus style. This is why Tel Aviv is called also the White City, because the Bauhaus buildings were painted in white. Now, this style is very important, but it was brought here by German Jews in the 30s. I personally like more the eclectic style that started right here in Israel. Anyway, if you want to relax, you can always head to the beach. Tel Aviv has a beautiful promenade, and this is what tourists do in Tel Aviv. This is what the people who live in Tel Aviv do, go to the beach. This is the most important place in the city. Tel Aviv never looked to the east, to Jerusalem. Tel Aviv always looked to the west, to the sea, and the soul of Tel Aviv lies on the beach. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Did another video about the best hotels and hostels in Tel Aviv, and one about the best tours that you can take in Tel Aviv, so you can check them out. If you like this video, then please help me grow my channel and subscribe. If you have any questions, then you can please leave them down here below, and see you in the next video. Bye for now.